My name is Dr. Raydell Boateng, and I am the director of the Network for EdWork at TAF. That means I get to lead our work in supporting our BIPOC teachers and leaders. Okay, so the Network for EdWork supports teachers and leaders of color through our 3 programs. So our first program is the Martinez Fellowship. The Martinez Fellowship focuses on early career educator support. Our programming also seeks to support our veteran fellows who are further along in their teaching careers, and we have some leadership opportunities that we have to support their development as well. Our second program is the Education Encounter, and that focuses on specifically supporting leaders of color in education. So that includes school administrators, district leadership, university partners, particularly folks who work in teacher preparation programs, and then even some nonprofit leaders who work in education in the nonprofit field. And then the third program is Ally Engagement, which is a newer program under the Network for EdWork. And Ally Engagement is actually about supporting white leaders to be transformative in their practice. And even though the Network for EdWork is focused on how do we recruit and retain teachers and leaders of color, an important part of that process is ensuring that their peers and those who lead them are also getting that development. And so that's where the role of Ally Engagement comes in.
My name is Mia Tuan, and I'm the Dean of the College of Education at the University of Washington, a proud board member of TAF, and the University of Washington College of Education is a partner of TAF's. So TAF's Network for EdWork is special because it attends to the entirety of a candidate's experiences, not just their intellectual development, but their wellness and their identity and their sense of passion around the work. So it is unique in this nation in terms of paying attention to all those pieces. It's important to my college to be part of the TAF network because it means we're in a community with other like-minded folks who are deeply committed to this work. We share best practices, and we have community together.
My name's Jerome Hunter. I'm a Martinez Fellow, former teacher, current co-founder of Seattle School for Boys, and I'm also a community organizer. I applied to the Martinez Fellowship because of its authentic approach to education. I liked the mission to eliminate race-based disparities within education, and I just thought that this was an authentic way to get involved and make real change in education.
I'm Sydney Ha, Martinez Fellow, Cohort 11. I currently work at Chinook Middle School as a SPED teacher. Initially, Martinez Fellowship program was pitched to me as a way to really support myself through grad school financially. And then diving into it, just realizing just how much support and the sense of community that was there. I think that was the biggest thing that I really learned and was able to take away from it, and just realize that there's a space for me that I can get support even more than just financial.
It's no surprise, really, for those of us who are in education that schools are historically and predominantly white spaces with rules for engagement that are both implicit as well as explicit. And so for teachers of color to be entering those spaces and to feel as though they can bring their whole selves is risky. And yet that's what we need them to do because they model it for our students of color.
Liberation pedagogy is, as it states, it's a pedagogy about how do you be and lead as liberated. And so as a pedagogy, it's about giving each person the opportunity to consider their own personal journey towards liberation in their teaching practice and their leading practice, which in the TAF context includes recognizing the ways that systemic oppression shows up, and we have internalized that as people of color. Finding resources and tools to help us undo that. And then when the undoing happens, it's important to be able to have ways of being that replace that so you don't revert back to being who you are when you feel oppressed. So recognizing, undoing, replacing, and then the last part is engaging other people in the process, right? In order for this to be sustainable, in order for change to be real and impactful and to last, we have to be able to bring other people along in the process. And because it's a pedagogy and it's not prescriptive, it says that there is room for everybody to show up in that as they are, but here's also a framework for us to be able to communicate and work together around that. Someone who is leading liberated means that they're able to thrive in predominantly white spaces. Often in those spaces, people of color, leaders of color, sometimes even without thinking about it, conform to certain ways of being because that's what they've been socialized to do, and then start to recognize that that feels oppressive or that doesn't feel okay. And so being able to thrive in those spaces is an important component of being able to, of leading liberated. A second thing I think is important to consider is knowing when to self-preserve and when to step in, right? When you are a leader and you recognize things and you are very socio-culturally aware and critically conscious, it's almost like every minute you could recognize something that's oppressive, something racist, something sexist that's happening. And that can be overwhelming and it can be emotionally, psychologically, physically exhausting. So a liberated leader also knows when to say, hey, I'm gonna step in, I'm gonna say something about this, versus when they should say, I'm gonna pull back, I'm gonna self-preserve because in this moment I need to take care of me. Another important component of leading liberated is intentionally building community, a community of people who are committed to similar things as you in trying to transform systems, trying to make education, trying to make classrooms more equitable places.
As more teachers of color are in public schools, it starts to change the culture and the dynamic of those schools. It starts to make a space where bringing your whole self, and in this case, your identity, your culture, your background, into that space acceptable and part of the norm, which then creates that expectation and that sense of comfort for students of color.
The events of the past year, in addition to the current racial climate, have really energized me to not only share my personal story and encounters with racism, but also connect that to folks in the classroom, including faculty, but especially students. From that approach, it allows us to have these open and honest discussions around social justice, social issues, and begin to build a coalition, not only in the community, in the schools, and more importantly, within our student body.
As a teacher of color, it's not often that we are even represented in schools. Especially for me growing up, I can name like a handful of teachers that I felt even represented me. So having a space and just like for me seeing just the teachers of color around me and just seeing that, oh wow, I'm not alone in this. There are others who look like me, experience things the same way as I did. We're here to support each other, and that's like, for me, what that space is. Being a half Cambodian, half Hmong male teacher, oftentimes I've rarely seen students who even know what those ethnicities are, and just a sense of curiosity of that. And for me, when it comes to that, like I think of my role as more so than just simply existing, but more so like I have to make these connections with students.
It's a really exciting time in the Network for EdWork because we are currently growing and expanding. We are searching for a program manager for ally engagement, so someone who will lead the work of liberation pedagogy for white leaders who will be a part of our programming. We are also getting ready to launch into some district partnerships, which is something that TAF is really familiar with, but the Network for EdWork, this is new for us. And so we're saying districts, partner with us, work with us. We want to send you fellows. We want to share what we are learning and what we are doing around leadership and being liberated and creating systems that make teachers and leaders of color want to come and want to stay. And so deepening those partnerships so that there is collaboration across universities, across teacher preparation programs to help eliminate some of the barriers that make it challenging for teachers and leaders of color to come into and stay in education. And that includes financial barriers, among others.
So I had always seen myself as a right-brained creative person, and I was worried about going to a STEM school. Before I came to Tafitsahali, I was in a public school and was obsessed with fashion and art and design, and to be very honest, I didn't even know what social justice was before the 9th grade. Fitting in was a bit hard at first. I had never seen these faces in my life, and everyone seemed to be like really smart and don't tell them I said this, but a little nerdy. Not in a pre-transformation Princess Diary sort of way, everyone was ambitious. I learned quickly that I was a nerd too, in my own right. Classes in my first year were like engineering design, and they taught me STEM isn't just wires and gears, but building your tool belt and equipping yourself for things so you can create meaningful change in the world during and after school. That's what makes Taft at Sahalee different. We're not learning, we're experiencing and trying and failing and starting all over again and again. Taft at Sahalee gave me something that means more to me than just some worksheets in a class I've already forgotten about. They showed me my potential. STEM Expo isn't just a science fair. It's a spark. It was my spark. I mean, look at me. I'm like a whole tea light candle now. Let me make something clear. I have always been this loud, and I think that Taft has taught me what to be loud for and when the most effective times were to speak up. I'm a firm believer in trying everything once, just to make sure, and it's hard to keep up with someone who's like relentlessly ambitious like me, but Taft has helped me explore topics and places I never would have thought on my own. I remember going on field trips to Blue Origins, to different trades businesses and universities, and feeling like I wanted to somehow pursue everything that Taft threw at me. As a person of color, I've often felt invalid or not taken seriously. When I told Taft about all the things I wanted to accomplish, they didn't laugh or belittle my dreams the way many others have. They sat down with me, multiple members, and listened and affirmed me. And they said, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. How can we help get you there? And I've been connected with mentors from Zillow and an internship with Port of Seattle, and each of those experiences like whittled away at me. It's as if I was a piece of marble, and features of my passion and intentions were starting to show. For me now, I've applied to 26 colleges, which, by the way, would have been emotionally and financially impossible without the support I got from Taft, its donors and partners. Sleep, what's that? No, I'm just kidding. I want to be a UN ambassador someday, be one of the first Asian American Congress members, maybe even vice president, you know, all the little things. If Taft has taught me anything, it's to not let the craziness of my bucket list items and dreams stop me from aspiring big. If there's anything that Taft at Sahalee Wolfpack knows how to do, it's having fun. My favorite memories from our school or our all-school assemblies, we would like cram everyone into the gym, and it would be loud, and there would be games, and I would be yelling into that poor little microphone. It would be absolute chaos. But as someone great once said, you can't have happiness without a little bit of a mess. And yes, you guessed it. It was my quote. They're my family, and we have our ups and downs, and I love all of them just for who they are. And my first year with Taft was also the birth of Taft at Sahalee, and to think that I've been present for all of the growing pains of this amazing opportunity is, for lack of a better word, emotional. And as a part of our student body leadership, diversity groups, various clubs, and student organizations, I've had the opportunity to peek behind the veil. And in some way, I feel like a mom sending her grown-up baby to college. These last 4 years have really matured me, and I think that the school is getting better by the year. It'll be a bittersweet goodbye come June, but I just know that the next group of kids will benefit from the legacy of the group I was part of. And you can trust me when I say that all the students and younger leaders I've met makes me really hopeful for whatever comes next. People often ask me, you must have worked so hard, but I didn't do this alone. And you've probably heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. And while I'm not fully grown yet, thankfully, I can attest to the fact that Taft is a village I'm proud to be a member of. And it's a village that I'm scared to leave despite just how much they've readied me. But I know that growing up and graduating means that I'll be moving on to another village, another town, another school, and I'll be making a place for other kids to have the experiences I'm so grateful for. I want to extend an invitation to you to take action and join our village. I'm not the first from the Taft family to have a story to create, and I'm definitely not the last. Lady Gaga herself once said, "The best type of kindness is the one that inspires kindness." And getting involved with Taft means people like me, people who don't look or think or behave by what we're limited to or what we should be, get a chance to pursue our dreams, no matter how crazy. Taft has equipped me to help my world in bigger ways, so I'm going to continue choosing kindness. Will you?
Over the last almost 25 years, we have emerged from after-school programs to being full partners with school district leaders and university colleges of education. Together, we are decolonizing public education and ensuring traditionally marginalized students get the education they deserve instead of the one that was planned for them way back in 1635. When it comes to racial equity in our country, we have moments where the conditions are right to make great progress toward being the country we profess to be. This is one of those moments. In my 63 years on this earth, I don't remember a time where so many people from the dominant culture are pledging to make things right for people of color, to be allies, to be co-conspirators. In addition, COVID really woke people up to how much of a major role public education takes on when it comes to our poorest families, our immigrant families, and our families with differently abled students. COVID also gave those with a death grip on the traditional education models a chance to see that we can do so much more beyond sit and get. It gave many teachers an opportunity to rethink why they are working so hard to meet the learning styles of each student, only to have students cramming for state tests that don't measure knowledge, yet determine the future of students starting in 3rd grade. There are more educators than ever having conversations about reconfiguring our school systems so we can educate students instead of schooling them, allowing us to produce socially conscious students who use 21st century skills to ideate, create, solve problems, and ultimately become the kind of leaders we need in every sector of our country. Taft has taken action before this window of opportunity closes. Yes, we will continue reaching toward our 5-year goals of educating 68,000 more students, recruiting 400 more teachers of color to Washington State Public Schools, and adding 15 more school partners to the network. Over the next year or so, we will be laser focused on how to answer this question. What will it take to ensure students of color in Washington State have teachers and leaders, school leaders, that have a shared culture and understanding of who they are in the world and how to best educate them? Now, what we know is it will take a concerted effort from higher education, school districts, government, and nonprofits to intentionally and unapologetically prioritize sourcing and development of educators of color and ensure they are employed in school environments where their voices are valued and they're able to bring their cultures to schools and classrooms. This effort must also include rethinking how we develop and support white leaders who work alongside and lead educators of color. Now, you know Taft, we've already taken our first big steps to answer this question. We expanded the Network for EdWork to support educators in undergraduate programs all the way to experienced educators seeking leadership positions. Realizing we're way too small to make these big leaps alone, we enlisted our university partners to collaborate with us to form a coalition of colleges of education and school districts to dismantle and replace the hegemonic structures and practices in our public education system. With this work, we hope all the students but especially students of color, will be able to learn in environments that are representative of who they are and help them value the cultures of the world around them. If we are successful 5, 10, 50 years from now, the education debt owed to students of color will decrease. None of what we've done or what we plan to do happens in a vacuum. It requires an amazing entrepreneurial staff, partners who are willing to go the distance, lots of volunteers, stellar leadership, and the continued support of our amazing benefactors. In other words, it takes all of us. We must have a sense of urgency around this work because our students are counting on us to give them the academic experiences they deserve. They are counting on us to create school communities where they will feel welcome and can contribute. They are counting on us to prepare them for their leap from elementary to middle to high school and ultimately their first big life decision, their post-secondary direction. I know you want to help, so let me share the ways that you can put your time, talent, and treasure in action. For your time and your talent, you can be a volunteer. You can enlist folks in your company to volunteer. There's no need to be a STEM professional, just be who you are and share your passion and profession with the students and teachers. Help us build our network. Take a moment to spread the word about TAF to your friends and your colleagues. Share our many social media posts. Host small gatherings where we can have dialogue about public education. You can also be a thought partner with our teams as they create new bodies of work. For your treasure, we're asking you to make a donation today. You can make a single gift or you can spread it out throughout the year. Both of those will be matched 100% thank you to a generous donor. Enlist your company in our TAF Alliance program where they can create career-connected experiences for students like internships and innovation challenges and resume review. The time is now, the urgency is real. Let's make some big moves in public education together.
It's time to put equity into action. Here are some ways you can take action right now. Donate to TAF today. Remember, donations of $250 or more or any new donor will be matched 100%. Make your gift at techaccess.org/donate or text TAF Lunch to 444321. Partner with us. Whether you are from a corporation, school district, university, or college or community organization, it takes all of us to make this education ecosystem better. Work alongside us in transforming education for thousands of students and teachers across Washington State. Go to techaccess.org/partner to learn more. Volunteer your time and talents. There are so many ways to get involved in TAF's work through either one-time or ongoing opportunities. You can check out all of our volunteer options on our website and apply directly today. Finally, spread the word. Share the TAF Varsity Lunch Break with others, and don't forget to follow us on social media. So, how will you put equity into action today? Comment below what you plan to do.
Thanks for joining us today for the TAF Varsity Lunch Break, Equity in Action. Now, I'm notorious for saying no more talking heads, meaning enough talking about stuff. We need to take action and get things done. Equity in action for you may look different for someone else. Still, I urge you to take a small step to ensuring we can build an equitable public education system where underserved students of color, teachers, and education leaders of color, and ultimately all students will thrive. Slowly but surely, partner by partner, we are uncoiling the systemic oppression within the education system, offering relevant and exciting learning opportunities and exposing students to learning experiences that empower them to lead. Please consider donating to TAF at this moment. Your gift will be matched 100%, so you'll double your impact. Help us bring our learning model to more districts to impact more students across the state. We just can't do this work without you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.